Hello, Heath the Car Theist here, just coming at you with a new topic on the NIV translation and the committee behind the translation and their methodological approach to how to do translation. They went about translating terms that were masculine into terms that were gender-friendly, if you will. So, for an example, if it was in the context of speaking to males and females, they would translate it, say, brothers. They would translate brothers and sisters. Say if it was he or man, they would translate it whomever or one. This is fascinating. What it is doing is reinterpreting the biblical text to fit our modern use of language, rather than having us in our time and space to understand the context of the biblical authors, which is fascinating because it goes back to the Old Testament, that language of the masculine term denoting the whole of the community is really rooted in the covenant and the language in which God has revealed himself in the Old Testament. That he's a covenant-making God, and that he set the male as the head of the covenant and the representative of the whole of the community. This goes back even into the nature in which he's made male and female, and that he's created us both genders in his image and after his likeness, that they both express his communicable attributes, but they do so uniquely. They exemplify unique attributes in their lives, and then the male represents God's the responsibility and leadership, the single-minded purpose and vision of upholding God's will in the community, in the society, and the woman is given this gift of nurturing, aiding, a strong support to that vision and to that single purpose of upholding God's righteousness in the world, and that the two together, therefore, uphold and strengthen society as they exemplify their unique the unique attributes of God there. And so this idea of the male representing the whole of the people is actually rooted in covenant and rooted in identifying the male as having the responsibility of representing the people. Whether that's in, and let's go to this. This transcends the Hebrew, the Jewish culture, as we see this is God's plan even in the Jewish, or excuse me, the Greek culture, as in the New Covenant. When Christ came, he's the head of the covenant, and we see that he's given the husband, in the context of the family, the role of leading the family as representative of Christ as the head. Again, of the covenant, and so too the male, the head of the family, and this is to represent again that role of responsibility and headship. So this is not something that is limited to a historical context that has no theological bearing. This actually deals with the way in which God has revealed himself to humanity, that deals with the relationship between male and female, and the way in which we can bless society and bless our own lives to the fullest. And whether or not we like that, it's not our job to reinterpret that, right? We don't go back into a text and modify it to suit our philosophic context. The goal of a hermeneutic, anyone that's using a hermeneutic to understand another language, another text, the goal is to understand it as they wrote it, and then appropriate whether or not we agree with it. And so what the NIV community is doing is just wrong. And it's distorting hearing the full voice of God's word.